Smart assets. Don't be the reason your CPA drinks. Smart assets. We help you keep more cash than you think. Smart assets. Rich folks aren't magic, they just bend the rules. Smart assets. Some rent out goats and somehow that pays for pools. Nobody taught us this tax code shit. Just work hard, save money.
Thanks, that really covered it.
Meanwhile, wealthy people have meetings at lunch talking.
So you just got back from a fam trip to the Maldives. You've hosted 47 Instagram stories, drank complimentary champagne at sunset, and now you're wondering if you can write off the entire thing because you took one blurry photo of the resort pool for your agency's newsletter. Let me save you from yourself. Welcome to Carry On Advice. This is the part of the Smart Assets podcast made for travel agents, but it's also absolutely not exclusive to travel agents alone. If you sell trips for a living, this is for you. If you just like listening to people talk about money without pretending everything is fine, this is also for you. Carry On Advice is where we unpack the stuff no one explains clearly, the gray areas, the can I actually do this questions, the hidden gems buried in tax code, business rules, and financial systems that were not designed with travel agents in mind. Today's gem is about fam trips, write-offs, and the very thin line between this is legitimate business travel and this is a vacation I'm aggressively justifying. And so yes, this is advice for travel agents, but if you run a business, work remotely, or have ever wondered whether something counts as a write-off, stick around. There's always something for you here too. Grab your receipts and your emotional support beverage and let's go! Here's the thing about fam trips. They exist in this beautiful gray area between actual work and what your high school guidance counselor would call living your best life. You're technically there to learn about the destinations and properties so you can sell them better. You're also at a beach resort drinking things with umbrellas in them, and the IRS knows this. They know you're having fun. They also know that it looks like a vacation. They also know that the travel agents genuinely need to experience destinations to do their jobs well. So they've created rules. Annoying, specific, kind of vague rules that we're about to break down without making you want to throw your laptop into the ocean, which, by the way, would not be deductible. The actual IRS rules. So let's talk about what the IRS actually says about travel deductions, because spoiler alert, they don't have a section called Instagram influencers who sell cruises. They have something called ordinary and necessary business expenses, which is tax code for we're going to make you prove that this wasn't just a vacation. Here's the baseline test. Is this trip ordinary and necessary for your trade or business? Ordinary means something common and accepted in your industry. Necessary means helpful and appropriate, not literally required to stay alive. So yes, visiting a resort you're selling is ordinary and necessary. No, taking your boyfriend to Bali because you vaguely mentioned it to one client is not. The IRS wants to know what is the primary purpose of the trip, and this is where people spiral because the primary purpose cannot be fun, even though we all know that it was at least 40% fun. If the trip is primarily for your business, you can deduct your transportation costs. If it's primarily personal, you can't deduct travel, but you can deduct expenses directly related to business activities while you're there. Think of it like this. If you flew to Italy for your cousin's wedding, but you also toured 3 hotels you sell, you can't deduct the flight, but you can deduct the Uber to those hotels, the meals with the hotel managers, and the costs of those site inspections. The IRS basically is saying, we know you're mixing business and pleasure, we just need to know you're being honest about the ratio. Let's get specific, because this is where people either save thousands or accidentally commit light tax fraud. Transportation, if the trip is primarily business, you can deduct airfare, train tickets, rental cars, all of it. The IRS uses this fun little test. If it's more than 50% of your trip, substantial business activities, not just checking your email while poolside. Lodging, deductible for the nights. You're actively doing business. If you stay an extra 3 days to decompress and see the Colosseum, those 3 nights are personal. Split it on your books accordingly. Meals. This is where it gets spicy. Business meals are 50% deductible. That means if you have dinner with a resort manager discussing group bookings, you can deduct half of that bill. If you eat alone while reviewing property materials, that's just regular meals and not deductible. If you eat alone while doing absolutely nothing work-related, that's called dinner and it's not a write-off. Site inspections and fam trip fees, fully deductible. If you paid a fee to join the fam, that's a business expense. If you paid for a guided tour of a venue you're considering for clients, that's also deductible. Stuff you actually need for work. Did you buy a new camera to take better property photos? Deductible. Did you buy a new swimsuit because you needed content? That's a personal expense that happens to appear in work content, which is different. The IRS draws a line at things you'd buy anyway for personal use. And here's a reality check. If you're attending a legitimate industry fam trip organized by a tour operator or supplier, and you're doing site visits, attending presentations, and networking with other agents, that entire trip is likely deductible. These are structured educational experiences, and the IRS gets it. It's the I'm calling my girls' trip to Tulum a research trip situations that are the ones that get messy. How to not screw this up. Now let's talk about how to actually track this without losing your mind or getting an audit. Document everything like you're building a legal case, because you kind of are. Keep a trip itinerary that shows your business activities, save emails confirming fam trip attendance, take photos of properties with timestamps, write down who you met with and what you discussed. I had a travel agent client who kept a daily trip journal, not a Dear Diary journal, just bullets, toured resort, spa, met with sales manager, discussed group rates, reviewed the 3 rooms. If you have ever questions, separate your expenses clearly. Don't just dump everything into one travel category and hope for the best. I want to see transportation separate from lodging, separate from meals, separate from fam fees. Makes it easier to apply the right deduction percentages and way easier if someone ever audits you. Use a dedicated business credit card. Stop mixing your oat milk latte and your business lunch on the same card. Get a card just for business, run all business expenses through it. It makes your bookkeeping 10,000 times cleaner. Keep receipts for everything over $75. Under $75, the IRS will accept other records. Over that, they want actual receipts. And for meals, write on the receipts who you ate with and why, and what you discussed. Future you will think present you. The 50% personal test matters. If your trip is more than half personal days, you're losing the transportation deduction. So if you're adding vacation days to a fam trip, be strategic. 5 business days plus 3 personal days, you're good. 3 business days plus 5 personal days, you just turned your flight into a personal expense. And here's the thing nobody tells you. You can't just declare things. You have to actually do business activities. If you say you were on a site inspection, but you have 0 photos, 0 notes, 0 context from that property, and you never mention it to a single client afterward, that's not a business expense. That's a vacation you're trying to write off. And the IRS will completely call you on it. The reality check. Look, I'm going to be real with you. Most legitimate fam trips organized by suppliers, host agencies, or consortia are absolutely deductible. You're there to learn, you're there to do site inspections, you're networking. That's real work, even if it happens to be at a resort. But if you're just traveling and calling it research because you're a travel agent, that's not how this works. You need to be actively conducting business, meeting with properties, attending industry events, inspecting venues you plan to sell. The IRS isn't trying to ruin your life, they just want you to be honest about what's business and what's personal. And honestly, most travel agents I work with are more conservative with their deductions than they need to be. They're so scared of doing something wrong that they don't write off things they absolutely should. So here's my advice. Deduct what's legitimately business, keep good records, and don't try to write off your honeymoon just because you looked at one hotel lobby. The line between business travel and personal travel isn't as blurry as you think. You know when you're working and when you're not. The IRS knows too. Act accordingly. That's fam trip write-offs without the anxiety spiral. If you want help actually tracking this stuff in QuickBooks or figuring out if your specific trip qualifies, that's literally what I do. You can find me at gobeyondtheledger.com or spiral about it alone in your notes app at 2 a.m. Both choices are valid. I'm Amanda. This is a Smart Assets podcast. Go deduct something responsible.
How to make money move without looking sus. Making more money is only half true. If you lose it in taxes, it never belong to you. Smart Assets. We've got your back. Let's do this better. Smart Assets. Turn good money into something that lasts forever. Smart Assets. Less guessing, more money you actually keep. Smart Assets. And yes, you might finally get some sleep.